Love and hate. Somehow they come together. The people that we love very strongly, sometimes we hate them very strongly. Why would that be? Is it because we love them or we need them? If you need somebody, and that's the cause of the love, then when they don't fulfill your need, you're not going to appreciate them. And if they don't fulfill your need sufficient over time, eventually, when they don't fulfill your need, you're going to hate them. The question is, though, did you really love them? Because if you really love them, then when they don't fulfill your need, why did the love dissipate? Because the love was a love that was conditional. It's a love that's conditional based on what my needs are to be fulfilled. And if they are, then I will express the love back. Exactly. And when I don't, so that's when the hate will come in. Ooh.
But isn't that a natural default response?
Yes, it's a natural response. Absolutely. Why? Because the natural love we have is reciprocal, is conditional. To have an unconditional love for your spouse, you won't have so quickly. For your children, you'll have it more so. And even then, not necessarily, but it'll be easier to come to because there's more of an inherent love that we have for our children than we do for our spouse. Right? But listen, you can hate your children too because they're making life painful for you. So they're making life painful for you, so you might come to hate them for that. Obviously, that's not a good and healthy thing. But it's not a good and healthy thing for you to hate your spouse because they're not fulfilling your needs. And how much of that does exist? Plenty. Plenty of it. Oh, I forgot to put on. Second. Welcome to Tanya today. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine coming to you for Chabad Zichron Kadeshim in Montreal, Canada, where it's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. We are in the 32nd chapter of Tanya. As it's known, Lev, the heart of Tanya. 32 in the Hebrew letters. Lamed is 30, Beis is 2. The Lev, the heart of Tanya, 32, chapter 32, and indeed it is. Speaking about V'ahavta lecha kamecha, loving your fellow Jew as yourself. And why do you love yourself? If you love yourself because of your great achievements in life, or your great character quality, or your whatever it is that you feel that's magnificent about you, well, that separates you from all other people, and therefore the love you will have for others is based on the need you have from those others to fulfill, that they help fulfill more of your life. Because that's based on your animal soul, based on your body, which separates you from another. But if it's based on your soul, you love yourself because of your Jewish soul. Therefore, every other Jew has the same soul, and therefore there will be an equal love. And this is the whole Torah. The whole Torah is that the soul should have prominence over the body. I'm learning and teaching right now. The idea of learning and teaching, the idea of being charitable, the idea of eating kosher, they're all the same idea. What is it? That the soul should have prominence over the body. The body wants to eat whatever is palatable and gives pleasure to the palate. Kosher, not kosher, it doesn't matter. That's the nature of the body. The soul wants only kosher. Soul wants a blessing. The body just wants to have pleasure. So there's a struggle between the two. Same thing with charity. I have money, and I want it for myself, for my own needs. Yeah, but God says to be charitable. So there's a struggle between the soul and my animal soul and my the body's desire. So as we see, everything about Judaism is really the dominance of the soul over the body. And that's what it means. Therefore, and that's how you can come to love another fellow Jew just as the same as you. There's no difference. And that's what it means. How do you love someone as you love yourself? I love myself. I'm a tennis player. I'm not, but I used to be. So that's what I love about myself. Oh, so I love you as a tennis player. And if you're not a tennis player, I don't love you. Right? So what do you mean? The Torah is commanding to love as yourself. First of all, how could that be? Well, if you love yourself as a Jew because of the Jewish soul that you have, then well, you can love another fellow Jew as you love yourself. If you love yourself as a human being, created in the image of God, so you can love another. Perhaps. I don't know how that works exactly, if that can actually work. I'm not certain it can. I don't think it can. But that's for another discussion. There's no real identity. Right? And we see that doesn't exist really. It doesn't. Anyway, based on all this, now, the Alter Rebbe brings up a contradiction in the teachings. He brings up a contradiction. The Talmud says, if you see your friend sinning, you should hate him. And you should also relate the fact to his teacher so that he will hate him too. We just spoke about love. Where does this hate come in? How does this hate come in? Doesn't fit. Says the Alter Rebbe, this is only speaking about someone who's your companion in study and then went off the path and you rebuked them and they didn't accept the rebuke. So we're talking about a Torah scholar. We're not talking about just your study partner, but a Torah scholar who's a real scholar and they went off the path. Right? What have you done? You've tried to rebuke this person. As it says that you should rebuke even if it's many times. So the verse in the Torah, in the Bible, is interesting. Rebuke, you shall rebuke your nation, your people. Who's your people? So the exactingness on this is who's with you, meaning with you in scholarship. You're a great scholar, and he's your study partner, and he's a great scholar that you studied together with. He's with you, and you've rebuked him, and he did not change his ways. So then it becomes a mitzvah to hate them. We'll get back to this person in a moment, okay? Because it's not there. Now says the Alter Rebbe, however, anybody else who's not your study partner, who is not close to you in your level of observance, which is a high level, because we're talking about a scholar here, then you have no mitzvah to hate them. The only mitzvah you have is to love them. There he says, he quotes from Hillel the elder, who said that we should be from students of Aaron, right? Aaron the high priest. What did me a student of his? Oyev Shalom, that we should love peace, pursue peace, loving creatures, and drawing them near to Torah. So the Alter Rebbe picks up on their terminology. You love creatures? Why are you calling them creatures? Because we're talking about not great people here. Talking about that people, your fellow Jew, who you don't see any qualities in them. They're just creatures of God. The only thing you can say about them, God created them. But they're very far removed from God's ways. Yet, love them. Love them and bring them close to Torah. Bring them close to Torah. And perhaps you'll be able to draw them close as the service of God. And if you fail, then you don't forfeit the merit of the mitzvah of Ahavas Reim, of neighborly love. Wow. So in other words, a Jew who is not observant of Judaism, or even someone who's observant today, right? But not scholars, they're not really, full-fledged into, and they went away from the path. There's only one thing you have with them, is to love them. Love them as a Jew and bring them closer to Judaism, to Torah. Right? Now goes back the Alter Rebbe to the other person who's your study partner, who's a scholar like you. So we're only talking about a very elite kind of group over here, the scholars. Right? So says the Alter Rebbe that yes, there is that idea of hate, but at the same time, you also have to love them. Hate them for the sin and love them for their soul. Hate them, not them, hate their sin, love their soul. So what should take more priority though? Because if you have two emotions, hate and love, which one is to be the stronger one? The hate or the love? Says the Alter Rebbe, it should be the love. Love should take the priority. There should also be hate for their actions that they're taking, right? Again, remember, this is the Torah scholar who is your study partner, not a Torah scholar that you have no connection to, and definitely not someone who is not scholarly, as 99.99% of the Jewish people, which means for them, there's only love towards them. Says the Alter Rebbe that you should love them. And if you're having troubles of having love for them because of their actions, the way they're acting, and you're supposed to hate that, well, then have compassion for them. And compassion will redeem love. As it says, Abraham redeemed Jacob. Abraham was the embodiment of love. Jacob redeemed Abraham, the opposite. Jacob, who's the embodiment of compassion, redeems Abraham, who's the embodiment of love. Because when you don't feel love for a person that you should, have compassion for them. By having compassion for them, you will bring out the love. And in brackets, he concludes chapter 32 over here, and he says, King David made a statement that I hate with a consummate hate, reserving no love whatsoever for the heretics and the atheists, Jewish heretics and Jewish atheists. that have no part in the God of Israel. How's that fit in? Because that's a king who is responsible for the entire people. When it comes to those who are taking the people away from God, so then there has to be consummate hate. But that's only the king. Regular person, not. Love and hate. Hate for their actions, love for their soul. Again, that's only for the scholar, right? And here we're talking about, when we're speaking about heretics and atheists, it means those who are scholars, not some, some fool who just says, I'm an atheist, They know nothing about God to begin with, that they became an atheist. Not talking about that. Very powerful. What do we see from here? How powerful a life we live when we live more with our soul. The more we live with our physical needs or even spiritual needs, but they're self-fulfillment. It's all about me fulfilling my needs. It's not coming from your godly soul. It's coming from your animal soul. I need this to feel good about me, right? That's because I'm feeling not good about me, so I need this to feel good about me. Or to feel, maybe I feel good, but I want to feel better about me even. More fulfilled. That's all coming from the body. It's body talk, animal souls, language, but not the divine soul that's within us. Divine soul that's within us, ooh, a different language altogether. It's a language of sensing the connection, feeling the connection to another. Because I love myself for my Jewish soul that's within me. So then, ipso facto, I'm going to love you for your Jewish soul that's within you. I'm going to feel a bond towards you. As we do when there's a bomb that goes off in Israel and our heart skips a beat, because we feel an attachment. We feel an attachment. It's a natural thing. Yeah. Jewish people are very attached. And we see that. What's going on in Israel. I think I mentioned this before, but with me, it would say in the somewhere like 1910 in Ukraine, there was a non-observant Jew, Mendel Bayless, who was a blood libel, and he had killed, a Christian child. Of course, he didn't, but hey, why not make a blood libel? And they came to court and showing how Jews think about non-Jews, and therefore, brought from the Talmud and this and that, and therefore we take their blood and we kill them. And of course, the whole thing is nonsense, because you could read into anything you want. Yeah, like Christians do into Isaiah 53, and to the other, places that they say, oh, this means our God, the God of, JC, look at that, written right here, JC. No mention at all. Just that's called reading backwards forwards, reading with your agenda, and so on. So, we Jews have been dealing with it the last 2,000 years. Anyways, they brought a proof that the Talmud says that the Jewish people are called Adam. Adam, the first creation, right? You're called, and not non-Jews are not called Adam. See? And Adam is a term that we use for a human being, you see? Non-Jews are not called human. one of the proofs they wanted to bring. So one of the rabbis, and there were a slew of rabbis from Ukraine, from Poland, from Russia, from all different places, Jews from, all eyes of the Jewish people were on this court case. So came Rabbi, what's his name? Rabbi Shapiro, the founder of the Daf Yomi and Chachmei Lublin Yeshiva in Poland, says, look at this. There's one Jew on trial on here, and really, who's on trial? The entire Jewish people. You have rabbis here from across different nations coming here. You have the Jewish people who are watching this because, right? And there was one Christian child that was killed. How many people are here and concerned for that? No one. Except the family. That's what it says. You, the Jewish people, are called Adam and non-Jews are not. Because the word Adam is a singular word for human. It's not humanity. Because, or rather, there is no plural term for Adam. We don't call humans Adamim in Hebrew. But in English, you call the humans or human. There's a plural form. In Hebrew, everything has a singular and plural form, except this word, Adam, doesn't. And that's why the Jewish people are called Adam, because Jewish people are singularly one. Non-Jews are not. They're all individuals, dispersed, caring for themselves and what's important to them, their family or whatever is important to them. But the Jewish people, they're united as one. They're Adam. That only exists in the Jewish people. That's this chapter, what we just learned over here. Love your fellow Jew as yourself. How can you love him as yourself? Me, myself, and I come first. Well, it depends who the me is. If the me is my soul, my Jewishness, so then every other Jew has the same Jewishness as I do. And therefore I feel a bond and a oneness with them equally. If what I sense is my uniqueness, right? Oh, I once heard from Rabbi Friedman, he said, there's no Jews in Israel. You know that? No Jews in Israel. But there was like 8 million of them there, or something like that. So no, everybody in Israel, they call themselves some kind of Jew, a Haredi Jew, very Orthodox Jew, or some are secular Jew. Others are nationalist Jews, nationalist religious Jews, right? Some are Kippas Sruga Jews. They're the knitted yarmulke Jews. But there's no one called a Jew. Everybody's got an affiliation. That's not being Jew. That's not what we learned over here. No affiliation. The only affiliation we have is to being Jewish, according to the Torah. And that's who we are. So when we give an adjective to describe what kind of Jew you are, that's missing the point. The Jew you are is one of the soul. And at that level, we're all bound up with each other. So much so that someone who is very removed from Judaism, all there is to love him. What are you loving? Well, what do you love about you? If you love about you, your Jewishness, well, that person has a soul, Jewish soul, just the same as you. They're not living it? All right, so bring them closer. Do whatever you can to inspire them, to encourage them. But we're one and the same. That's this chapter is about. Powerful. Jeffrey, is it true that Rabbi Akiva's students died because the love that they had for another was for the as themselves, because they love one another? Yes. Oh, that's a good question. How could that be? Uh, yeah, they loved each other, but they didn't love deeply enough. What is the story hitting someone with a stick in the sauna? So we speak about rebuke over here, right? So there's a story of a friend of mine, his father became a rabbi in Newark, New Jersey in the 40s. And he was speaking very strongly to the congregation about, observance, 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 and they couldn't take it. They complained to the Rebbe, to the previous Rebbe. So the previous Rebbe called him in and said to him, you know, when you are bringing someone closer to Torah, mitzvahs, you got to be, how do you rebuke a person? So it's like a sauna, he said. The sauna, you go into the first level, right? It's the heat. If you can take the heat there, then you go the next step up because the heat rises and it's hotter, right? Then you go the next step up. And if you can manage that heat, then you go up the next step. And then finally, when you've managed that, thank you, Shmuel. Thank you very much. When you've managed that, then what happens is on the top, you lie down and a guy takes branches and he hits you. And he hits you. It's called a platesa, or different terms for it. And he hits you. And what do you say? Ah, machaya. Ah, you're loving it. He's hitting you. He's hitting you. He's letting out the toxins from your body, and it feels it's like this kind of massage, if you will, right? Says that's what a rebuke is. I'm not here one. After I'll speak. So he says that's what rebuke is. Rebuke is first you got to give the heat. Rebuke means you're giving the heat to someone. Low level. They can take that next step. After that, they take the next step. And then finally, they are refined enough and they're able to take it, then you can really give it to them. And then they say, thank you, I love it. That's the story with the sauna. If you love them, and does that mean you forgive them? If you really love them, you don't even need to forgive them. When you really love somebody and they did something wrong to you, you're able to look you're able to go look beyond that. That's the real truth. All right. All right, folks. Oh. That's it. Yeah. Okay. Amazing. You're all amazing. Rambam is coming up. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you for Chabad Zich and Gedeshim and Shul Kenner. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you.